Welcome to the next part of my advanced full bullet character matchup guide. Today's video will be All Might. All Might is an assault that is a very meta pick, so you will expect to see him a lot in your matches, especially in ranked. All Might as a character plays a very rush down style. While he has fantastic mobility that he can use to escape fights, he can use it to initiate fights, and he also has his gamma that he can use to escape a lot of fights. This can make All Might very tough to deal with when he's got proper team support, as if All Might goes into his tornado at a proper time, it can be quite tough in order to keep up with him and output massive damage on him. But All Might also has a very large hitbox. This makes it very easy for you to land your maximum damage alphas. As you see, even this far off, I still hit for 84. Hitting maximum alpha on All Might is not hard at all. In fact, he's one of the easiest members in the cast to do that with. And I would argue Full Bullet takes better use of his large stature than most characters do. A lot of this is because each of Full Bullet's pellets are small and tend to not always land. But the huge stature All Might has means you can be very lenient and even at range hit large amounts with the unaimed in version of the move. This means that you can land consistent damage rather easily with your alpha as long as you have aim that is even sort of good. Another thing that is worth noting is that All Might's special action and his beta go in a very linear path and have lots of lag on them. Your alpha is really good at punishing these. As I will showcase here, special action will leave you still for a few seconds before jumping away, and the way that you jump will be rather linear, only really in one direction with a bit of left or right movement that you can go into. But you can't really change your direction too easily. All Might can, however, use beta or gamma in order to change the direction of his special action. Both of these have their own flaws, however. First off, beta, it has a lot of startup on it, it has to travel a distance, and has a ton of ending lag, and it travels a very linear path. This will make it very easy for Full Bullet to land those two alphas in order to knock him out of his beta, as all you have to do is know which direction All Might is going in with his beta, and you could rather easily get to in that time frame and kick him out of his beta. Sometimes All Might will want to go into gamma as well, but Full Bullet has a way to counter that in his own way. It's really iffy sometimes, but Full Bullet can counter All Might's gamma. It's not exactly the most consistent thing, but it can. So I will discuss that now. If he is in gamma, you can hit him with a beta of your own through it. Sometimes it's a bit of a pain and doesn't like to work, and other times it has an easier time working. I'm pretty sure your heal hitbox has to land on him before the tornado hits you. Like that. This will allow you to bypass All Might's tornado and punish him even while he's invincible. However, you need really good timing for it, or else it will not work. If All Might is rushing at you with his tornado, I might suggest doing a jump and beta at the right time, as I've personally found this to be at least a little bit more consistent than going for the grounded beta. However, if All Might decides to change his direction in his gamma, this can make this a little bit less consistent. It's kind of hard to showcase on the bots, because the bots don't really like to cooperate, but like that. You can do this at all gamma levels for All Might. His level will make it a little bit harder timing due to the larger hitbox that gamma will have, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. I've found it to be a little inconsistent and something you probably won't want to go for unless you absolutely need to, but you can do it. So keep that in mind when facing All Might. Full Bullet is one of the few characters who can actually bypass the tornado. Full Bullet can also use Alpha to knock him out of the startup of the tornado if you are landing Alphas before he starts using his tornado. That one tends to be pretty situational, as the startup on the tornado actually isn't that much. So you really can't do that all the time, but it would be worth doing, as knocking him out of the tornado and putting him into a hard knockdown can be exactly what you need to go in for a beta in order to finish the job. The next thing I want to point out is All Might's Alpha. At level 3 and below, your Gamma will block it just fine. However, if he goes to level 4, he gets splash damage on his Alpha, which means he will hit you through your Gamma. As showcased here. And your Gamma's HP is not great, so he will also break it fairly quickly. As showcased at level 9, he will also still hit through. In fact, he will also hit through with Beta at all levels. This is only if you stand in the same spot and can be negated by placing a Gamma and rolling backwards. This will mean that All Might's Beta will no longer hit you through the wall. However, this isn't something you can always rely on doing. I have a much better strategy for dealing with All Might's Beta when he attempts to use it aggressively. For Beta, I would recommend dodge rolling, and depending on the distance that he ends up, either punishing with an Alpha or a Beta. Both of these can be very viable in their own ways, as it allows you to cause a hard knockdown, which Full Bullet is good at taking advantage of. As showcased there. Generally, at that range, you would have probably had a better off going for Alpha, but if he's a little closer to you, Beta can be smarter. Generally, go for Beta if you can hit the heal. If you can't, don't bother. All Might can also combo Beta into Alpha, so he can get a crack on you if he lands a high level Beta and into his high level Alpha. He can do roughly a little under 300 damage, I do believe, which is worth noting for. However, dodge rolling Beta isn't particularly difficult, and you can punish him heavily for going for Betas, both in a mobility sense and in a damage sense, as if he goes for it in mobility, the move is very predictable. So you can easily Alpha him out of it. It also has lots of lag during all of it. So hitting All Might out of Beta is very easy, both while he's running away and while he is standing and like trying to attack you with it. The final thing I would like to mention about All Might is that if you go for Gamma up here like this, he will be able to hit you with Alphas. So I would highly suggest going for Gamma in a place where you have some cover, or doing it in a way that he would not expect, such as moving left or right during the start of it, and potentially going more upwards than what you would usually want to do. As All Might's range actually isn't super fantastic in this matchup, you outrange him by a decent margin. I don't want to say it's by a lot, because All Might's range is actually not that bad, but you would land this range, but All Might will not. All Might requires you to be about here for him to land, I do believe. Yeah, he's bugging out. I know how to fix this.
Hold on.
But yeah, right there, All Might will be able to reach you
Full power.
But if you make use of your maximum range, you will outrange All Might by a little bit. All Might's range is comparable to Bakugo's, in my opinion, as Bakugo's range is very solid in medium to longer range, but Full Bullet outranges Bakugo by just a little bit. So if Bakugo outranges All Might, then so does Full Bullet. Full Bullet can use this to his advantage in order to play All Might in the medium range, since All Might really can't do that very well in the medium range. All Might's goal in that range will be to close the distance on you, and your close quarters is generally better than All Might, leading to him not really having a direct answer to you. All Might, the best answer All Might can really come up with, from what I've seen in matches, is to stay in the air as long as he can. Alpha spam you from above, and use beta to stay in the air, alpha. This is generally how I've found that All Might will want to deal with you, and if All Might gets stuck indoors with you, he will almost certainly be going for gammas and betas, as if you go for alpha trades, Full Bullet will win that trade rather easily. So if he goes for alphas, you can punish him very easily for that. If he goes for a beta, you can punish him very easily for that, even indoors. But gamma, you just need to get your timing on point for Full Bullet's beta going through it. And this matchup will be basically free indoors with little to nothing All Might can do. And outdoors, All Might can be a bit of a pain due to his ability to stay in the air for a long time. But overall, I would still say Full Bullet has the advantage outdoors, if only slightly. I would give this matchup a 60-40 in Full Bullet's favor due to the large stature that All Might has, allowing your alphas to connect abnormally easy, and having a bunch of other little advantages such as better range, higher alpha damage, and the ability to bypass his gamma. All Might is a top tier pick for a reason. He has utility across the entire board, but Full Bullet has several answers for each of his options that he will want to go for. So just keep this in mind when facing All Might on the battlefield, as All Might can be a threat that you would really need to take out, since a lot of top players run All Might, at least on PlayStation. Next up, I believe, will be Aizawa, so be prepared for that and stay tuned.